Cruise lines won't warn you about the noise above, the parade outside, or the view that's 90% orange. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how to read a deck plan like a map to treasure, so you skip the buffet thumps, dodge the long walk zones, and land a quiet, bright cabin at the same price. We'll cover aft balcony trade-offs, connecting door surprises, and the sneaky built-in sightlines everyone mistakes for obstructions. Wait for Norn 12, Guarantee Cabin Roulette, where I show you when it's a steal and when it's a headache. Your cabin sets your whole cruise. Let's nail it. Obstructed balcony realities. An obstructed balcony looks like a deal. Balcony price without the full balcony cost. The catch is in the view. On many ships, obstructed means a lifeboat. Davit or steel support sits right in your sightline. When you stand, you may see ocean. When you sit, you may see orange. If you love coffee with a sunrise shots or plan to read while watching the waves, that matters. There are upsides. You still get fresh air, natural light, and private outdoor space. On warm itineraries, that little patio becomes your personal breeze zone. If the price difference to a clear view balcony is big, an obstructed cabin can be a smart way to stretch the budget. There are downsides besides the view. Crew may access lifeboats during drills or maintenance, which can feel less private for a few minutes. Some obstructions also block wind, so the balcony can be warmer and less airy than you expect. Photos and videos will be trickier, and seated whale watching in Alaska is not ideal if you have to stand to see over hardware. Book it like an insider. Search your exact cabin number online and look for real photos from past guests. Study the deck plan for lifeboat outlines and note whether the obstruction sits low, mid, or high. If the seated view is important to you, only accept the obstruction when the savings are worth it. If not, spend a little more for a clear view and enjoy every sunrise from your chair. Neighborhood balconies. On Oasis and Icon-class ships, not every balcony faces the ocean. Neighborhood balconies look into Central Park, the boardwalk, or other interior zones. Think City View Hotel, not seafront condo. That's the trade. Upsides first. These rooms are usually cheaper than true ocean view balconies, but you still get fresh air, outdoor space, and great people watching. Central Park feels calm at night with soft lighting and live music drifting up. Boardwalk gives you action, carousel, aqua theater previews, sail-away vibes. Wind is gentler, so it's easier to sit outside without getting blasted. Now, the catches. Privacy isn't the same. You face other balconies, so you'll keep curtains closed more. You won't get that endless ocean view or the sea breeze. Boardwalk can be loud during shows and peak hours. Central Park can host evening performances. Expect ambient noise and aromas, grill, pizza, at mealtimes. If you crave sunrise over water or whale spotting from your chair, this won't scratch the itch. Book smart. Pick higher decks to reduce noise and improve sightlines. On boardwalk, cabins near the aft can snag partial ocean peaks toward the aqua theater. If you want quiet, lean Central Park midship. If you want energy, boardwalk near the action. Love a balcony but not the price. Neighborhood can be a solid value, as long as you're okay trading waves for wow. 3. Inside under the buffet gym. An inside cabin under the buffet or gym looks like a great deal on paper. You save money, you are close to morning coffee, and you can pop upstairs for snacks without trekking across the ship. For deep sleepers, it can work fine. The motion is often mild midship, and being near food and elevators is convenient. Now the reality. These areas are busy zones. Early morning, crew roll out carts, move stacks of chairs, and restock stations. You can hear scraping, thumps, and the occasional rumble that sounds like bowling balls at 6 a.m. Gyms add their own soundtrack. Free weights meet the floor, treadmills thump. Class music leaks through at odd hours. None of this is constant, but when it happens above your ceiling, you feel it. Book smart, not sorry. If you must be under a venue, pick a cabin that is one deck below passenger cabins, not directly under a buffet or gym. Check deck plans for what is over your room. Aim for the middle of the deck rather than corners near service doors and stairwells. Pack a simple noise plan, soft foam earplugs, and a white noise app. If quiet mornings matter more than short snack runs, spend a little extra to be sandwiched between two passenger decks. Your sleep will thank you. Far forward cabins. Forward cabins feel adventurous. You are near the bow, first to see open ocean, and often close to the theater and some quiet lounges. Prices can be friendlier up here, and sunrise on a forward-facing balcony or window can be gorgeous. If you like the feeling of movement at sea, this area gives you that classic ship vibe. Here is the trade-off. Motion is strongest toward the bow, especially on windy days or in choppier waters like the North Atlantic or early-season Alaska. You will notice more pitching, which can bother light sleepers or anyone prone to seasickness. Docking can be louder too. Bow thrusters and anchor work create early morning rumbles that travel through the hull. On some ships, forward decks get stronger wind, so balcony time may be shorter and you can catch spray when seas are lively. Forward elevators also tend to be busier at showtime. Book with eyes open. If you want forward, pick a lower deck to reduce the seesaw effect. Check your itinerary sea conditions and pack motion remedies just in case. For a quieter experience, look for forward rooms that are still one deck below other cabins, not directly under the gym or theater. Love dramatic ocean views and do not mind a little movement? Forward can be a win. Prefer calm and long balcony hangs? Consider midship instead. Quick pit stop. If this is helping you dodge a dud cabin, tap like so more cruisers see it. Subscribe for the full cabin choosing playbook, and tell me cabin nerd in the comments if you want my printable deck plan checklist. Okay, back to it. Low deck ocean view layouts. Low deck ocean views can be great value. You get real daylight, a waterline view, and the smoothest ride on the ship thanks to the lower center of gravity. For nervous sailors or light sleepers, that calmer motion can be the difference between meh and magic. You're also closer to the gangway on port days, fast on and off. The trade-offs live in the layout and location. On some ships, the bed sits under the window, which wastes that view you paid for and turns the sitting area into a cave. Anchor and thruster noise can be louder down here on docking mornings, and in port your ocean view might be a pier piling or a baggage cart for a few hours. Windows are fixed, no fresh air, and you may see more foot traffic if you're near the gangway. Aim smart. Choose midship, one deck below other cabins, not under the theater or galley. Check photos of your specific cabin number to confirm the sofa by window configuration, much nicer for coffee and view mornings. If you're sensitive to noise, avoid cabins directly above the bow thruster rooms or near crew stairwells. Want stability on a budget with honest daylight? A well-chosen low-deck ocean view is a sleeper hit. It's 6. Under the leaded top deck. Living right under the action sounds fun until 6 a.m. hits. Lido crews start setting out loungers, scraping chair legs, rolling carts and hosing decks. Add daytime thumps from the buffet, pool music, and kids sprinting for soft serve, and you've got a soundtrack you didn't order. Late nights can bring after-party footsteps, early mornings bring deck drag and pressure washer hums. It's not all bad. Your steps from coffee, breakfast, pools, and sunbeds. On sea days, that convenience is gold. No elevator waits in a wet swimsuit. Some ships have well-insulated buffer spaces between lido and cabins, so noise isn't universal. If you nap rarely and plan to be out when the deck is busiest, the trade feels smaller. To tilt the odds, study the deck plan. Avoid being directly beneath the buffet, galley pool stage, water slides or gym free weight area. Target cabins under indoor venues like a spa or solarium seating carpet, quieter, or under cabin-only decks. Midship typically has fewer chair drags than aft bar areas. Bring slim earplugs for docking mornings. Thrusters plus deck setup can be lively.
Bottom line, under Lido equals prime access with potential noise tax. If you're an early riser or an always-out adventurer, it's convenient. If you crave afternoon naps or silence, pick a deck cushion by cabins above.
7. Connecting door cabins. Connecting rooms sound perfect for families and groups. You get 2 cabins, 2 bathrooms and a private doorway to pass snacks, sunscreen and sleepy kids without roaming the hallway. On turnaround day they're also easier for the crew to prep as one unit, and sometimes they're priced attractively when booked together. That's the upside. The trade-off is noise. A connecting door is an extra seam in the wall, and even with a lock and deadbolt, it's thinner than solid bulkhead. You're more likely to hear TV volume, midnight laughs or a toddler's early wake-up, yours or theirs. If you only need 1 cabin and end up beside strangers, that extra seam can be the difference between cozy and why do I know their movie plot. If you want a connecting pair, great. Request it early and confirm the exact cabin numbers, not just guarantee. Bring a small door draft blocker or roll a towel to seal light and sound. If you want silence, ask for non-connecting in the reservation notes and check the deck plan for the tiny door icon before you click book. When choices are limited, aim for midship, away from elevator banks, and use a white noise app at night. In short, connecting doors are fantastic for your own group, and a gamble if you're next to someone else's. 8. Aft balcony trade-offs. Aft balconies are the romance postcard. Wake to a wide wake, endless horizon, and less wind than side balconies. They're usually deeper, so you get real outdoor living space, room for loungers, breakfast, even a sunset nap. Photographers love the steady view. Sail away and port departures feel extra dramatic from the back. Now the trade-offs. You're far from almost everything. Expect longer walks to dining rooms, theaters, and the gangway. On some ships, aft zones vibrate a bit when the engines throttle, and there can be a low hum at night. Soot happens too. With the exhaust flow, railings and chairs may collect fine black specks on sea days. Most crews wipe them daily, but white clothes and fresh linens can pay the price if you're not careful. Noise can travel from the wake or an aft lounge above or below, especially early when crews set up chairs. A few smart moves make aft magic. Pack a quick dry cloth or wipes for rails and chairs. Store towels when you're not using them. If you're soot sensitive, choose one deck lower than the very top aft balconies. To cut walking, pick an aft cabin on the same deck as your dining room or one level from it. Light sleepers should bring earplugs or use a white noise app. If you want space, views, and a calmer breeze, aft is a win. If you crave quick access and silence, think twice. 9. The infinite veranda debate. This one splits cruisers. An infinite veranda looks like a regular cabin until you reach the window. The glass drops halfway at the push of a button, turning that front section into a semi-balcony. The big upside is space. You get more usable square footage inside, full-height windows, and a bright lounge area even on windy or rainy days when a normal balcony would be a no-go. It's also safer and quieter for families who want the view without a swinging balcony door. Now, the trade-offs. It's not a true step-outside balcony. When the window is down, AC often cuts off so the cabin can feel warm or humid in the tropics. Privacy is different too. Your balcony is technically part of the room, so anyone inside shares that space. Layout matters a ton. When the bed sits next to the window, some guests feel cramped and miss having a separate sitting area. When the sofa is by the window, the room breathes better. Morning coffee with sea air still works, but you won't get that outdoor chair and railing moment. Best fit, cooler itineraries, Alaska shoulder seasons, and travelers who value light, space, and quiet. If you live for a real balcony rail and ocean breeze naps, book a standard veranda instead. 10. Long walk locations. On today's megaships, great price, odd spot can mean a 10-15 minute round trip every time you forget sunglasses. Aft and far forward cabins, especially on huge classes, feel like a daily hike to the pools, dining, kids clubs and theaters clustered midship. It's not just steps, it's time. On port mornings or show nights, elevator waits stack on top and you burn precious minutes shuttling back and forth. There are upsides. These ends of the ship are often quieter, with less through traffic and sometimes lower fares. If you love the spa, the aqua theater, or an aft lounge, living nearby can be awesome. Fitness folks even like the built-in step count, and you'll usually find empty elevator cars at the dead-end towers when the midship banks are jammed. The trade-offs are real for families with strollers, anyone with mobility limits, or travelers who pop back to the room a lot for cameras, meds, and outfit changes. Returning between activities can feel like a chore, and on windy days the long open deck walk can be chilly. Smarter pick. Aim midship and 1 or 2 doors off a main elevator bank, not directly opposite noise, or choose near the venues you'll use most. If you must book the extremes, stash a small day pack and plan fewer room runs. Your feet and your schedule will thank you. 11. Built-in sightlines, no obstructions. Some cruisers book a perfectly normal balcony, step outside, and panic because they can see other cabins, angled hull sections, or a public deck below. That's not an obstructed balcony, that's the ship's architecture. On many modern designs, think hump sections, tiered sterns, inward curved promenades, your line of sight includes parts of the ship. You still get open sky, ocean and fresh air, you're just not in a glass box floating in space. Upside, these cabins often cost less than true premium view spots, yet deliver a full balcony experience. The tiered design can even block wind, making it more usable on sea days. At night, reflections off nearby structures can be pretty. Downside, less of that endless water vibe, and occasionally a bit of foot traffic or noise from a deck below. If privacy is your thing, you might feel more seen, especially on inward-facing layouts. Smart approach. Check photos of your exact cabin number, not just category, and the deck plan's silhouette. If your view is sky-ply-sea with a slice of ship in frame, you're fine. If a lifeboat or steel beam cuts across the middle of your horizon, that's a true obstruction and a different decision altogether. 12. Guarantee cabin roulette. A guarantee fare means you buy the category, not the cabin. The line promises you at least that level inside, ocean view, balcony, then assigns whatever's left closer to sailing. It's cruise roulette. Sometimes you score a higher deck or even a free upgrade. Sometimes you land next to a service door under the gym. Upside, lowest pricing for the category and a real chance, however small, at an upgrade. If you're flexible and don't sweat exact locations, it's a budget win. Downside, zero control. You can't reject the assignment if it's forward-most on a motion-heavy itinerary or under a late-night venue. Connecting doors, long walks, lifeboat-adjacent views, all possible. Families with naps, light sleepers, or anyone with mobility concerns may regret the gamble. Good fit, short sailings, last-minute deals, or trips where the cabin is just a crash pad. Bad fit, bucket list itineraries, motion-sensitive travelers, or celebratory cruises where details matter. If you roll the dice, set expectations and monitor your assignment when it drops. If the location is truly problematic, call immediately. Polite, flexible guests sometimes get moved. Otherwise, enjoy the savings and spend the difference on experiences you'll remember. 13. Reading deck plans like a pro. Deck plans are your X-ray vision. 10 minutes with them can save you from 7 a.m. chair drag symphonies and midnight thump-thump jazz. Start by finding your cabin's neighbors vertically and horizontally. Above and below should be other cabins, not buffet, pool deck, theater, gym, or nightclub. Public venues equal potential noise. Watch for icons and odd shapes. A narrow indent often marks the bed area. A wider section can mean the sitting space is by the window, great for ocean views. Triangles or dotted lines may indicate connecting doors. Elevator banks bring convenience but also voices and dings, so aim a few doors away, not directly opposite. Study ship profiles for humps, tapered sterns, and tiered decks. Humps can deliver larger balconies. Tapered sterns can mean spectacular wake views but more vibration. Forward-most cabins feel more motion. Midship rides smoother. Cross-check with real photos of your exact cabin number if possible, then confirm the deck above and below on the plan, not just the same deck. Finally, think like you. Are you pool people? Theater nightly, spa at dawn. Pick a location near your most used venues to cut the cruise commute. Master the map and you'll sleep better, walk less, and love your cabin more. That's the real cabin playbook. No fear, just smarter choices. Pick the view you'll actually use. Dodge the noise traps, and let the deck plan do the heavy lifting. If this helped, tap like and hit subscribe so you never miss the next Insider Rundown. Tell me in the comments what's the best or worst cabin you've ever had, and why. I read them all and they help other cruisers too. Ready for your next upgrade? Watch my guide on snagging quiet rooms and surprise perks without paying sweet prices. It's queued up on screen. Until then, sleep well, sail smart, and enjoy that balcony coffee.